Welcome to another episode of Todoist, Learning the Basics. My name is Jerry Colbert, and in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about how to use projects to their full potential. Coming up next. So here we are within Todoist, and in this episode we're going to be talking a little bit about how to utilize projects to their full potential. Now, I'm going to show you how I utilize projects, and if you watch any of my other episodes here on Todoist, you will have seen some of what I do with my projects. But I want to kind of go into, in this episode, and it'll be a short episode, but I want to give you kind of a brief idea of my, I guess you could say, workflow as far as projects go, as well as in relation to labels and filters and the inbox, the today view, and the next 7 days. How I utilize kind of all of that together to create myself a more productive and efficient way of handling my tasks that I have set for myself. Now, here you see I have Todoist opened up on the Mac. Now, here I have the inbox, I have the today view, I have the next 7 days, and of course I have all my projects under here. In this episode, like I say, we're going to be focusing mainly on the projects here, on how I kind of parse out my life, but also we'll focus a little bit on labels, filters, and on tasks in general and how they relate to projects as well as labels and filters. So as you see here, I have a home/personal project. I also have a Hampton Inn project, a Jerry Colbert photography, and if you haven't visited my website, please do so at jerrycolbertphotography.com. Nice little plug, huh? Yeah. Anyways, and then I have enlightenment and entertainment, my daily and weekly reviews, my goals, someday maybe folder, and then, of course, area of focus. Now, if you see here, I have a little arrow there that's pointing towards that. That is where I have some sub-projects underneath here. So some people like to separate their life between personal and professional. Well, I have sort of kind of did the same thing. I just didn't go so much, I guess, to the extreme of just calling one personal and one professional and then putting everything underneath both of those and just having those two. So I kind of put home and personal right here, and then I put my professional stuff, and I might have separated it a little bit just so it's easier to get to when I am using shortcuts to create a task and I want it to go into a certain area. So, but in any case, I typically like it set up like this, and if you see I have this arrow here, and when I click on it, I get these sub-projects set up. Now, under home and personal, what I like to do is I like to have a home project or personal projects. And this is also a folder or a project that I have set up. And underneath it, I list out my projects that I'm going to be currently working on. And these are all home projects, whether that's like, work on roof repair project or build a shed out back, or whatever that project is that you're going to be working on in your home, you want to put here under home projects. Then, of course, I have routines. These are all my daily, weekly, morning routine, and monthly routines. Now, what I typically like to do here is I like to create routines that are happening on a daily, weekly, and monthly routine, basically, and I want them to, I guess you could say, repeat all the time, but I don't necessarily want to see them all the time in some of my filters that I utilize. So I put them under routines so I can parse them out later under filters and negate that from showing in my filter views when I'm wanting to focus on a certain number of tasks, so I don't have to look at my routines that are basically things that I have to do, like take out the trash, take the dog for a walk, just the normal everyday routines that don't necessarily move my life forward, but I have to do them or I'll wind up living in a pigsty. So those are the type of routines that I have here, and so I'll list those out. Then also I have here a project called Single Actions, and it doesn't have any subfolders under it. It's basically tasks that I have come up with that I want to get done, but they're not really related to any kind of project. They are just basically things that I need to get done in my personal life, like pick up Listerine from Walmart, or buy ham for Stephanie's birthday, or whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. That's going to be a single action that is not going to be repeatable, and I might not do it ever again in the future, but I need to put it somewhere in some sort of project. So I want to, like I say, and if you're watching any of my other episodes, whenever you put stuff in the inbox of tasks that you want to do, and you want to go ahead and get those out of the inbox and get an inbox 0 and put them in the corresponding project, so you know what you're going to be doing with that task. And so that's basically what I do here with single actions. So if you go here on single actions, you see I have buy a shirt, I have rent the Adderall Diaries. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Not really sure. And then I have several other things out here that are just ideas that I've come up with in my personal life that I want to get done. They're not going to be repeatable, and they don't belong to any kind of major project like building shed, demoing the house, changing the living room to a den, just whatever it is that you're trying to do a major project. You'll want to have a major project folder for that. But anything that's single action, things that are just sparse little items, and I know I'm just babbling at this point, you'll want to put in what's called a single actions folder or project. Okay. Now, these projects here, except for the home project area here, these right here, like this Redesign My Life and Minimalist Journey here, these projects here will eventually end, and I will archive them and start another home project. But routines, daily routine, weekly routine, morning routine, monthly routine, they won't necessarily end. So 3 years from now, I'll still have a project here called Daily Routines. Now, the tasks might change. The tasks under here might change. But the actual project itself right here will not change. And weekly routines will not change. Morning routines will not change. And monthly routines will not change. Okay? Now, if you see here under now you could call this professional if you just want to call it professional, or your work, or whatever you want to call it, but this is a hotel that I work at, the Hampton Inn. And if you click here, you'll see I basically have it set up the same way I have my home personal. I have Hampton projects, just like I have home projects here. I have Hampton projects here. I have routines, just like I have routines here. I have single action, just like I have single actions here. And then I have a separate thing for QA, just because it's a long story. But in any case, there you go. And even under routines here, you see I have daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly routines. So I basically set these all up in the same kind of structure that I do my home. And the reason why I do that is I don't want to have to sit there and think, well, what kind of structure do I have under home? What kind of structure I have under my personal life or my professional life or this life or that life? I don't want to have to think about the different kinds of structures. I want it all to be kind of same structure under each one of these. So therefore, I am able to put tasks where they belong in a quick and efficient manner. Because it does you no good to try to become more productive if you're not also being more efficient in the way you handle your tasks. Now, also you see I have my Jerry Colbert photography here, and basically I have it set up the same way. I have photography projects related to there, and there I list all my photography projects. I have routines, daily, weekly, monthly. I have my single actions, and then of course I have a education one that's just a separate project under there by itself. When I get down to things that are not based upon personal or professional, and I get down to just miscellaneous projects, which is this area down here basically, which is things that I want to kind of do that kind of, belong in professional, sort of kind of belong in personal, but I just didn't want to put one under personal and one under professional. So I just kind of kept it out here, and it kind of encompasses both. Okay. So I got enlightenment and entertainment. So if you look under here, books to read. Well, maybe there's a book I want to read that's on photography. So I put it under there. Maybe there's a book that I want to read that's just for my, own pleasure, and it belongs on the personal, but I just want to kind of put it all in one little place. So under enlightenment here, I put books to read, movies to see at theater, videos to watch, music to listen to, movies to rent, movies to buy on iTunes. So I put everything under here. Then next I have my daily and weekly review of all the things that I want to review when my daily and weekly review comes up. Under here I have all my goals listed out. I don't necessarily look at the goals all the time, but I do review them usually on a monthly basis to see where I am on track with that. And maybe there is an item or two that I might schedule to be done on a certain day or whatever to move myself closer to completing my goal. Then, of course, also I have the Someday Maybe folder here, which also includes pretty much anything that I might have thought of as a project at one point in time that I wanted to do, or maybe think I will do in the future, but I'm just not quite ready to tackle that project yet. I'll throw it under the Someday Maybe. One day I might get to doing an international travel checklist, or maybe one day I'll get to resetting my Mac back to factory default and starting over from scratch. So this might be something I do in the future. Or maybe here's some miscellaneous businesses that I'm maybe either have started in the past, wanting to continue in the future, or what have you. And then, of course, I have my areas of focus here of things that I want to focus a little bit more on, like becoming financially fit, so to speak. Also being more healthy and stuff like that. Just areas that I want to focus on in my life and try to come up with a project of a way to accomplish those tasks. Something I want to focus on outside of just setting up a regular project or what have you. Something that's kind of, I guess you could say, on the more important personal side of self-being, so to speak. So these are how I set up my projects. Now, of course, when I do any of my tasks and everything here, you'll see I have labels attached to them. And these labels, as you'll see a whole list of labels here, help me when I decide whether or not I want to do certain tasks in a more structured way. Maybe I'm out at Walmart, and I click on Walmart here, and I'm like, what do I have to do at Walmart? Well, all I got to do is buy this. I don't have to buy anything else at Walmart. So just by clicking on that label there. Now, of course, if I want to use filters, I also use filters a lot. And I found that I use filters more often than I used to, because I can kind of take the label. See, when you have labels here, and I'll show you what I mean here. Let me find something here. Let's see. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. Where's it at? Hello. Oh, let's see here. What if I just say anywhere? Okay. So if I have an anywhere tab here, okay. So I want to do this anywhere. Well, this might be for today. It might be for Sunday. It might be for Wednesday. It might be for Sunday, today, whatever, But if I'm clicking on it today and I want to do all the today tasks, I don't want to say, okay, well, no, that's not today. Oh, here's a today task. Oh, that's a today task. So what is cool about filters is that filters can take that label and say, I only want to apply it to what? Things that I want to do today, right? So let's say I want to look at which actually would have been a good label to look at. Look here. I have all these 9 administrative tasks here. Some I don't even have a date on, right? I don't have no date on. Some I have for Friday, today, such. Well, if I only want to focus on administrative tasks for today, sure, I can click on this administrative thing and I say, okay, there's today. And so I don't have to sit there and look at that long list, and so I don't kind of get discouraged myself. Man, I got a lot of stuff today in a bird's eye view and kind of get discouraged and not do it. I can always go to filters here and click on administration today, and it goes ahead and shows me everything that's under that label for administration for today, so I can just focus on that during that time. And so another thing I want to bring into mind here, and as I was just thinking of this when I clicked on administration, I have and here's this is a cool thing. I have inside my calendar a time set aside for administration tasks. So at that time, when it's time for my calendar goes off and says, hey, it's time to do your administration task, I can go right in here to Todoist and look and see what administration tasks that I have to do for today. And I just go ahead and knock them out. So I kind of use the calendar app to kind of set up myself a time to do my administration tasks that I need to do. So I don't have it littering up my calendar with all these tasks that are kind of, if you ever looked at a calendar like Google Calendar or Fantastical or what have you, you can have all kinds of different tasks, but it kind of all looks jumbled up, I guess, on the calendar screen. So to make it a little bit easier, and so I can list everything out a little bit better, as well as saying, hey, I want to do that administration task, but I also want to do, maybe I have it labeled that I want to do that on my iMac and not my MacBook Pro, or I want to do that on my iPad. I can also put a label there for that. So it kind of helps me when I go from my calendar over into Todoist, that I can see that my administration task, and here's what I need to do for that task. Okay? Now, I did say this was going to be a brief episode. I lied, obviously. But in any case, this is basically how I like to utilize my projects for Todoist. And I have found that this way works. I do tweak it every once in a while, but for the most part, I find this structure works very well for what I like to get done with my tasks. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click on the like button below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. And so without further ado, I want to wish you all an awesome day, and let's become more productive. Thank you.